Hey, good evening. Welcome to the Stokastic.com NFL Live Before Lock Showdown Edition. Yeah, this is not, I don't think, what anyone expected when they scheduled this game. It happens. I'm not sure it would have made a huge difference anyway, but no, that's not true. I mean, Jaden Daniels would have had Debo and McLaurin back, and now we've got Marcus Mariota. I guess you could say he's like a serviceable backup, but I don't know. Spags and I were talking about this before we went live, just, how everyone kind of anticipates this game going one direction. And Spag, by the way, Chris Spags, everyone. Hello, sir. Nice to have you with me. I should have hit you with a Chris Spags, everyone.
You sound effect. It's all good now.
I was late on the trigger, but we were talking about it before the show, and it's like everyone, you can't fade Rashee Rice, right? And then everyone's just going to be emboldened after last week that said that because he had 2 touchdowns. He only ran 19 routes. They blew him out, played 41% of snaps, but he had his game. Mahomes looks amazing right now. Like the whole team, the team from top to bottom, offense, defense, everything, outside of Simmons and Smith being out on the offensive line, like they're positioned to run through teams right now. So I get it, but we have to at least inject a little nuance into this show, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a very obvious way. I mean, I was literally arguing with somebody in my chat this morning on my Splash Play channel because he was like, Rashee Rice, he's the guy. He's Jonathan Taylor. You don't fade him. And it's like, it's been 1 week. He was targeted at a level that even Puka Nacua doesn't hit very often. And that's a guy that gets targeted almost 40% of the time. He's out there running a route. Rashee Rice, there was a weird narrative thing with the team where they clearly felt like he was aggrieved for his situation where he went 125 miles in a car, injured somebody while drag racing on the street. They felt like he was a victim somehow from that. They were wearing free Rashee Rice t-shirts. They got him his touchdowns. Obviously, everybody assumes that'll be the case again this week, and it can happen, but for Showdown, playing the most binary expected outcome after a guy put up a massive box score game that everybody was happy with playing in DFS last week, usually not the way we make all the money, even if Rashee Rice and Patrick Mahomes are like so well projected this week. Mahomes by a crazy margin over everybody else.
Yeah, man. Well, the great thing about all of this is it doesn't matter what a game looks like from a quality standpoint. It doesn't matter how big the spread is. We've got DFS, we've got betting, we've got all of that. Kicking off the show, G. Joyner. Hey, Dave and Spags, how rare is it how long Pitt had both a black punter and left-footed, only black left-footed punter? I'm afraid I haven't researched black left-footed punters too often. Maybe I don't know, Spags. I don't know how deep your knowledge of esoteric NFL information goes. If you've dug this far deep into the archives to know if this is in fact a one-of-a-kind situation in Pittsburgh.
I will say Google AI mode says there's not much public information on black left-footed punters.
Shocking.
It does. I would have thought that blackleftfootedpunters.com, they would have scraped that right away on the LLM. Apparently not. I mean,
well, hold on. No. It would have just been blackleftfootedpunter.com.
That's true. I mean, there definitely been black punters. I will say, and again, just being real about it, you do notice, I think. So I get this guy being curious. But I can't think of it. I always think of Marquette King, though. Like, that's the famous one. But he only played for 5 years, apparently. I felt like he played for like 15. But no,
Marquette King was fun. Like, he was maybe the only guy that brought a fun element to the punter position ever. Right? Like, he had fun with it. But yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, I had to hit on that. It was and Greg, I'm not knocking you. That was genuine.
That guy's name is Greg. Conveniently, the first black punter in the NFL was Greg Coleman, who played 1977 to 1988. So that might be why. It might be Greg Coleman, the NFL's first black punter.
It's wild. I don't even know if his name is Greg. I saw G. Joyner, and I just started calling him Greg.
Well, he's Greg Coleman, and he's the first black punter in the NFL who wants his respect.
He could be Gary. Right? I got it. See what? It is Greg. I knew it. It's G. Joyner. I just knew his name was Greg. Just made too much sense. Anyway, let's go. Have some fun. Glad to have you guys here. If you don't mind, take 1 second. What a way to kick this one off. I just did so. I just hit that thumbs up. Atoned for my sins. Like to bring myself some good luck. Spags yesterday, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Both of those are free. Closing out the deeper dive, I said, hit that thumbs up. It's going to bring you something good today. I don't know to who. Might be one of you. You know, it's still a lotto within a lotto. And then a Stokastic sub took down the Millie. It's just how it goes sometimes.
Was he watching the show though? Because
I'd like to believe he was, but
I didn't get a tweet. I didn't get tagged in an app mention, which usually if they're watching the show, they do usually tag whoever's on the show. So I didn't see it.
No, but I was hoping we could omit that part.
Fair. No, I mean, you're right.
I don't know why you're killing the bit out of the gate, dude.
I want confirmation he was watching the show and was like, did he get the information from you and Ben? Was he perhaps wowed by my Justin Fields takes, which were also your takes as well?
You're like, he might not even be a sub. He might just forgotten he had the avatar.
Take the credit either way, though. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But no, congrats to BS Golfer, I believe it was. Took down the Millie. Awesome stuff. Yeah, Fields, dude, they got it done. Brees Hall threw a touchdown, man. And Aaron Glenn somehow got his first win. So it is what it is. But ready to talk some football here?
Yeah, can't wait.
Let's do it. You heard the man. Can't wait. All right. Let's get into it. Yeah. So first thing is that I can't ignore this. And we've got the Sims run. I'm going to tell you guys straight up. I tamped down the Washington exposure to the Commanders defense. You don't have to do that. I'm doing that, and I'm doing it for this show. Okay. You can do it however you like. Spags mentioned, our CEO, Tom Kennedy, who has had immense success playing DFS, typically likes to lower the projections on defenses as well. And he just chopped with our data guy, Rich, 100. I think they both won like 115K the other week, but I did do that. I also ran 2 unique Spags. So I have 2 uniques, 150 lineups favored. That's what we're working with here. But the one thing that sticks out like a sore thumb, the fact that Patrick Mahomes, when is the last time we've seen a guy getting almost 40, a quarterback, getting almost 40% at the captain spot at 16.5?
It's crazy. I mean, the projection is so high, and just to confirm that it's still at the right or the same amount that it was before. Yeah, 24.6 is the projection for Patrick Mahomes from Stokastic. Your next closest projected guy is Rashee Rice. So even when you account for what the standard deviation is for football, that can be a much bigger swing. You're talking about him still probably being right in range to be the top projected guy, even if he hits his theoretical floor. And obviously the Chiefs have been one of the highest pass rate over expectation teams in the league. They're at 8% overall, 8% in the red zone as well. The lack of running game, which does look a little better lately, but still not particularly good. It's all resulting in Mahomes kind of having all the touchdowns flowing through his hands. And even rushing, he's got that opportunity as well with him taking 1.4 red zone rushes a game, 5 rushes a game overall. So for Mahomes, he's hard to fade here. On a showdown, you get paid out the most money if you were to fade him and get that right. But how does that happen? I really don't know, because the Commanders are not the team that's going to offer the kind of resistance you would like to see against Mahomes.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a lot. Right now, 29%. I'm fine. I don't know if I'm going to change it. We'll see. Bryce Bucks, I reversed mortgaged my house on Scott Matlock and lost everything. That's a shame, dude. You would have been rich. But Spags, that one screenshot that I put out, dude, he was wide open.
He was wide open, and there was like a DB in the end zone who would have had the
killed
worst
him.
day of his life.
Yeah, right. He would have. Yeah. He's just going, please don't throw it to Scott Matlock. Please don't throw it to Scott Matlock. That was, he was right there. And then they go, what was it, Trey Harris that got it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
Lame.
sucked. I would have gone nuts if that hit, just for the brand in general. But I'm sorry to hear that, Bryce. Look, we'll get it back on the next 4th string fullback defensive end next game. But, so, yeah, the Mahomes ownership is a lot. Mariota, Rashee Rice is getting 19%. Greg made a good point earlier today. He goes, hey, if you take Rashee Rice and Mahomes, you have almost 60% captain ownership concentrated between 2 players on the same team.
It's crazy. I mean, like, I think really the first thing people will try to do is play Mahomes at captain. The second thing they'll try to do is play Rashee Rice at captain. I get it. I get the results and being what they were. I just think it's really important that people recognize like when things are outlier events and when they should come back to reality. There's a lot of top DFS players like Utical talks every week with my pal Pete Overs that talk about the concept of like, people don't grasp that you find middle outcomes a lot, whether it's the course of a season. I'm in a game, like a guy's running really hot, but he's not that kind of player. It's time to find their depth. And for Rashee Rice, he had a 1.8 ADOT, 10 targets at that ADOT in his debut. Like, it's a weird usage share, and I guess theoretically they could do that every game. But there's no player that has over 50% target per out run. Even Puka last year, for as much as he played, putting up 40, almost 40, I think it was actually more like 38. Just a crazy number. So for Rashee Rice to be at 60 after 1 week, percent target per out run, like that's just not going to hold. So he might play well. He might do well enough here. The projection still is what it is. But if you're chasing that one game result for Rashee Rice, I just think you're better off playing Worthy, playing Kelce, playing Tyquan Thornton, Hollywood Brown, Juju. Those guys are all still playing high 20s routes a game. There's just so many ways Rashee Rice could not hit relative to what I think the ownership is going to be. And I think it's going to be more aggressive than even Stokastic has it as right now in the projections.
Really?
I mean, Mahomes, if he's going to be 90% or whatever, maybe a little bit less than that just because of how showdown slates work. Rice, I think, has got to be 66 to 70. Like,
yeah,
potentially
yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah,
you're probably right. Yes, we will. Whoever mentioned that earlier, we will hit on the kicker situation. He's referring to the fact that Matt Gay was scratched, and now Matthew Wright is his name, right? Matthew Wright.
Yep.
I'm bad on kicker names, especially guys. But Matthew Wright kicked for somebody else not long ago. That's unimportant. Means nothing. Anyway, he's not in the player pool. And somebody mentioned on FanDuel they've done nothing. So I don't know. We'll talk about it. But the one guy you didn't mention that I'm curious about, a captain, and I actually got in the last run I have where I made some adjustments, 9% at captain. Isaiah Pacheco, he's an interesting guy to me for two reasons. Now, Brashard Smith seems to be the guy that they want to get out there and let him run 10 routes and they'll target him on 5 of them. But aside from that, he got a little bit of work last week. He got a lot of work last week, but a lot of it was in garbage time, right? Pacheco, though, even though this still looks like a team that wants to throw first and kind of use that short passing game with good yak guys as an extension of the run, Pacheco does seem to be clearly pulling away from Kareem Hunt. I mean, Kareem Hunt has a 4.5 rushing attempt prop today. Pacheco's at 11.5. He's not exorbitantly priced at all. I do think there's definitely something to be said about, hey, if everyone's loading up on Mahomes and Rice, what if Pacheco just knocks 2 home from the goal line? What if Pacheco just has a good game? Because I know he hasn't been great lately, Spags, but he has certainly looked better. And he's kind of running with that anger that we've seen before, where he just like runs guys over and fights for extra yards. I do have some interest in Pacheco today, a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the eye test has been there, and I'll say for his numbers, like I was really down to Pacheco and the results he got last year. People will defend the injury with the injury and all that he was hurt multiple times, but even before that, he just wasn't missing tackles, wasn't efficient in the way he had been before. Like that's what got him the role. But what jumps out is at the snap count last week up to 45. Hunt played, I believe it was a season low. That's Hunter Renfrow. Kareem Hunt played a season low 15 snaps, and that's down from 19 the week before, 21 before that, 32 a couple weeks before that. So he's moving down the other way. The pass protection stuff not keeping him on the court, on the field as much. And then you do have Brashard Smith, who you mentioned, the snap counts come up for him as well. He got to 28, which is the highest he's had all year in that last game. So I think for Kareem Hunt, I've liked the role he's had for KC, especially on these showdown slates where he's paid off, scoring a touchdown or two. I think they now have enough confidence in Pacheco to go back to him more. And for Brashard Smith, he brings a passing game element that really neither guy does. So I'm with you. I think Pacheco, wonder if he gets a little bit overplayed because I think people do like that eye test and he does look more Pacheco-y lately. But I think they're all playable to some extent. Kareem Hunt just is less playable than he's been on any other showdown slate for the Chiefs to me.
Would you consider, Pacheco with Brashard Smith?
I think it's possible. I mean, if you're just trying to get the Chiefs scoring the 29 implied points they have, it certainly could be Brashard Smith catches a touchdown, Pacheco runs one. Brashard Smith could theoretically run one, though I think he's more likely to make it through a target. I think it's definitely possible that neither guy has enough of a ceiling to eat away from the other one, and that makes it likely, or plausible rather. They make it in the flex. One at captain. I don't think the other one makes it most likely, but I suppose it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, also if you just had, and I'm not predicting or projecting for this, but very possible that this game gets out of hand. If it did get out of hand, you could see more Brashard Smith late in the game as well. So yeah, it's in the cards. Who do you like more, Brashard Smith or Kareem Hunt? That's the question, because we both agree Pacheco is the number one in this backfield right now.
I just think Hunt's going the wrong way, and Arcathelza is saying that Hunt got hurt last week, but that ignores that the snap share is still going down over the course of like a rolling month average, let's say. I just think they're moving away from Hunt. He has been a guy they've trusted before, but if you don't want him in on third downs and you don't want him in as much for goal line stuff, I think you just got to move him down. And Brashard Smith, like Mahomes has talked up Brashard Smith a lot. The team has to a lesser extent. This kind of game against Washington, it just feels like where if you want to get Brashard Smith going, it's a good spot to do it. So Pacheco would be my first guy. Smith would be my second. And Kareem Hunt, I just feel like I've gotten paid off them before. Today, I don't think it's the day.
I kind of agree. All right, let's talk about, actually, I do agree. I would just rather have, I don't know, maybe it always sucks when the Chiefs are on these showdown slates because Andy Reid could just go to Kareem Hunt and he scores, and he has like one big run. It's entirely possible that happens. Actually, when you and I talked about this a few weeks ago, I think that did happen. Mm-hmm. But it does feel like his role is diminished, at least compared to where he was a few weeks ago. So, there's that. Goody, let's not forget Mariota scored 21 fantasy points in week 3 with Debo and Terry playing, and they were both kind of pedestrian at best, but this could be a garbage time explosion. Oh, by the way, thanks for the super chat as always, Goody. I don't think anyone's forgetting that. I mean, I have a ton of Mariota at the flex. I have Mariota at captain. I have a lot of respect for McDuffie and for this defense, but no, I'm not sleeping on that. It's still a Monday night game. Stranger things have happened. And you're getting these guys at reasonable price points. Matter of fact, I like Debo quite a bit this week, Spags. I was pretty confident 2 weeks ago this guy's heel was not right. When you don't practice all week and then it's like you're leading all the way up to game time as a game time decision after not practicing all week, and then you watch him play and you're like, this guy's clearly not right. Well, now he's 2 weeks removed from that. They wouldn't put him back if he wasn't good. He was dealing with a bruised heel, I think it was. If that's the case, do they try and find ways to just get Debo the ball, like on the line of scrimmage at times and see what he can do? I mean, they use him in a multitude of ways to where I think on a showdown site like this with a backup quarterback, he could benefit, even if it's just from a PPR standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I've liked Debo a lot. In best ball season, just the mispricing I felt like between him and McLaurin. And obviously, it's easy to say that now. McLaurin's missed a month or whatever, and it's been not great for him. But Debo, just the role I think he's had, and the fact that people thought he was done with the Niners, and the Jaden Daniels glow up, I think is something we saw last year with McLaurin. We're seeing it this year with Debo. For as much as those guys have played together, I think Debo's the best target. My big concern is just like, can Mariota get the ball where it has to go? And that doesn't mean I'm not playing him, because I think that for him as a play, like Mariota, the rushing upside theoretically being there more in the spot, the fact that he should have to pass pretty much nonstop, assuming the game script goes expected, that's all positives. But he's got a really low catchable ball rate, 69% catchable ball rate for Mariota, a very nice number normally, not so good when it's how often you're getting the ball where it's supposed to go. He's not doing that. He's not doing as well as Jaden is. He's not doing as well as the majority of QBs are. That worries me a little bit, and then for Debo, who is a guy that kind of needs the ball placed at this point where he can make something happen after the catch. It worries me, I think, for Mariota. But that said, for Debo, I think he's the best Commanders pass catching option. I'm worried about Mariota. The total is just so bad. Like I thought losing a point or two with Jaden, sure. They lost 5 points from when Jaden got ruled out. Like it's a really bad indoctrination of Mariota's talent, at least according to betting markets.
Definitely. Well, I mean, dude, when Lamar went down, that swung, I think, in some spots, 12 points. Because when they thought he might play the next week, on Penny, they were -9. They closed at +2.
I didn't know they closed as a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, against Houston. Let me see if I fix this. I think I did. Ready? Let's see if I fix this. We're back, baby. There we go. All right. I don't know who's coming in here and screwing our stuff up, but there we go. Anyway, thanks, Goody. Appreciate that. If you guys have questions, feel free to hit us down below. We'll only read them if it's a super chat. I'm kidding. We won't. That's not true. If it's a good question, we'll read it no matter what. Donna, what do you think of Chris Moore? I mean, this is not a spot to me. That looks nice, dude. I got that black theme going. Look at that. Instead of the blue.
As black as a left-footed punter.
I'm talking about the color scheme of the
I know what you're going for.
What do you think of Chris Moore? I think Chris Moore, Donald, is probably not going to get really any work here. I mean, because he was Oh, you see it differently? You think he could?
No, I'm with you. Like he was McLaurin. Now McLaurin's in, so that's gone.
Right. I mean, you have no. I assume you're talking, Donald. I assume, and if I'm wrong, let me know. I assume you're talking about Chris Moore. You said C Moore, so that's what I assume we're talking about. But yeah, that to me is not a spot that I would probably be looking to get to. Here's a good one, Brayden. My heart wants to play Taekwondo. I thought he was saying Robert Tonyan because I saw him pop up in the lineup there too. Taekwondo, but I don't see it working out. Well, you know, the one thing about Taekwondo Thornton, and this is not a ringing endorsement by any stretch, Spag, I guess the only thing you could say about Taekwondo Thornton is that he could get one deep attempt that it results in like a 40-yard touchdown. Patrick Mahomes, granted, this is before they got healthy, but Taekwondo Thornton through the first 3 weeks of the season led the league in deep balls or deep targets. He had 2 targets for, again, 39 yards. He has a bunch of, he has 1, 2, 3. This dude has 5 receptions of 33 plus yards this year, which is just ridiculous. Actually, he might have 6 now that I'm looking at it. How much of his run was in garbage time last week?
I don't know offhand. I don't, because I usually don't carry those splits too much. What jumped out to me was the fact that he still ran high 20s and was right there in the same grouping with Hollywood Brown and Juju. I guess it's possible they might have come in garbage time, but they've been mixing him in enough that
I agree.
I think he's still got a role. Like for Chris Moore, the issue is that he's going to get replaced right away by McLaurin and those routes go away. You know, McCaffrey, similar extent, Jalen Lane, similar extent. KC keeps the guys who aren't Rashee Rice and Kelce and Worthy. They keep them all in the mix and they just kind of see what they could do in smaller batches. So I'm with you. I think Taekwondo Thornton, he's still averaging 2.3 deep targets a game, and that's with the roll coming down a little bit. He's definitely got that upside, and people will go to Worthy first to pivot off of Rice. But theoretically, that downfield game, like Taekwondo Thornton keeps finding ways to get there even when he's barely playing. Right.
And you know as well as I do, deep targets are gold on value guys for showdown slates. You know, like he could result in a 0 for sure, but also could one Taekwondo Thornton make him optimal? One big play, 2,800. I have 10% right now. Perfectly fine with that. Actually, I'm about 2x the field right now with the last run I did with the lineups that I've already submitted. I'm 2x the field. I 10% I don't think is all that crazy. And it's probably going to allow me to get to some really good players elsewhere. So, yeah. Colton Dickard. How much Hollywood at captain do y'all have? He tends to show up when unexpected. I have not a lot at all. I have like 1% Hollywood Brown at captain.
Yeah, I got him in the flex with the field's 15.5%. I didn't get him a captain at all. I mean, I feel like he's had pretty good box score games lately without the role being that big. I'm not sold that he's the kind of guy I want to chase after weeks where he's had touchdowns. It does feel a bit like a blind spot to get 0, and it's even in the 150 set with Stokastic data. I'm not getting him coming up, but he doesn't project well enough for the price, I think, is the issue.
Man, and the fact that they run so many different players, like, I mean, Nico Remigio and Jalen Rules, that's like clear garbage time. But between Juju, Brown, Thornton, Worthy, and Rice, all of those guys are going to see some opportunities today. By opportunities, I don't necessarily mean targets, but all 5 of those guys are going to be on the field, Spags. And that's not even including Noah Gray behind Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I'm fully in agreement with you. Like Noah Gray, I think might play more than every receiver, and he's not been doing a whole lot this year. He hasn't been spiking in the same way that, frankly, with how he played last year, I would have thought that Noah Gray would have more ability to capture upside this year. But he hasn't. He's only been targeted 14% of the time he's running a route. As far as I can tell, he hasn't had a single red zone target. Also hasn't had any deep targets. So there's nothing special to his role, but he played 45 snaps last week. He's out there a good amount for 2 tight end sets. And, he really is getting more reps out there. Even he's not running more routes. He's getting more snaps than all the secondary receivers for the Chiefs. Like he's getting more than, potentially more than Rashee Rice, but getting more than Hollywood, getting more than Juju, getting more than Tyquan Thornton. He's in play on the slate, I think. And because he hasn't had the big game at all this year, I feel like he's probably under-recognized compared to what people would have played him on a showdown slate last year.
I don't ever think Noah Gray's a bad play on a showdown site. There's just so many different ways they can do weird things. They get weird inside the 10 too. Like if you ever look at the Chiefs, Andy Reid's play calling inside the 10-yard line, like some of the stuff that he decides to do, they do weird stuff all the time. Like there's weird like shovel passes to Travis Kelce and just odd stuff. So showdown slate, I'm always fine to do that. SC said, damn, I'm getting a lot more Commanders D in the flex than I thought I would. Is that just due to lack of projectable value on this slate? I mentioned it earlier. Spags did too. We lowered the projection there on the Commanders D. Not telling you what to do. If that's something you're comfortable with, go for it. I just was personally, Spags was getting a lot more Commanders in the Sims than I wanted. So I tamped that down a little bit manually.
I'm still willing to play them. I mean, I'm playing them above the field, so by a little bit, because it's just they're coming up enough in the sim, even with knocking the projection down. Without the kicker there, I think Commanders D becomes a little bit more appealing because that's just one somewhat projectable cheap piece you can get to. But again, I really feel like I got lucky getting Jaguars D against the Chiefs a couple of weeks ago. I don't think the Commanders give me nothing in terms of the underlying numbers to make me feel good about playing them today. It's just that they're low owned, and when that outcome hits, like they probably would you a lot of money because they're going to barely be played on the slate.
Yep. Yeah. Again, you got to make your own call here. For me, I'm all right getting underweight on the Commanders defense, but wouldn't blame it. The thing for me is the Chiefs defense isn't even that much more expensive. Granted, they'll be a lot more popular, but yeah, Wake, that's what I did too. I took it down. I took it down as well. Mahomes had a pick 6 versus Jags. Didn't matter. Yeah, he did throw a pick 6, 100-yard pick 6 against the Jags. It's possible. Certainly is. That game wasn't at Arrowhead, and you didn't have Rashee Rice, and it was definitely different. And also, if I recall correctly, Xavier Worthy was clearly still not 100%. He had that ankle injury. He was questionable all week, ended up playing, but he did not necessarily look himself in that game either. Not to absolve Mahomes of sin here, but do we like Ertz less without Daniels at QB? I mean, sure. I don't know. He needs 2 receptions today for 800 to become only the 6th tight end to ever record 800 receptions. I say that, but it means nothing. He could finish with 2, and then it means nothing to any of us. He could finish with 1. But yeah, I like him less. I'm still willing to get to some Zach Ertz today. Like he's still reliable. What I don't understand, Spags, and maybe you can dig into this a little bit more because I didn't really find anything all that significant. Zach Ertz target share has really, in large part outside of the last 2 games where they were down a lot of guys, even the Chicago game, he had 6. McLaurin was out, but Debo was not right. His target share dropped considerably, and in the 2 games with Mariota, one was a loss to Atlanta. The other was a win over Las Vegas, and they ran the ball a ton. 3 and 4 targets for Hurts. So, what's a reasonable projection for him today? Like 5 targets?
He's averaging 4.9, catching 3.3. Yeah. So I think 4.5 to that. Yeah. Like that feels about right to me. And yeah, I don't think he's as good this year. Frankly, last year I was surprised that he ended up being like the every down tight end because they just spent good draft capital on Ben Sinnott, John Bates. They like as a blocker. They're still using those guys enough. And I think that's really the biggest issue is that they are running 3 tight ends pretty regularly with Bates, with Sinnott, and with Ertz. And those guys don't really get targets, but they do take some opportunity away. and for Ertz as well, you are getting McLaurin back in this week. You have Debo theoretically healthier. That should also impact how you view Ertz to some extent. But it's not really a great Ertz matchup in my opinion. Like I would want a really zone heavy team. Chiefs run man defense 34% of the time. Like that's not gonna be good for Zach Ertz. He's barely getting targeted versus man. And when he does get targeted, he's like incredibly inefficient with a negative 0.55 EPA, which won't be that bad forever, but like it makes sense. The old guy can't get open versus man. He can get a little more open to settle in versus his zone. I got him with the field. So like, I'm not fading him. I'm not in favor of him. I think he's an okay play in a game script where they should throw a lot, but the role is not as good as it was last year, even though I think he's been decent enough for a guy who's literal dust at this point.
I think you make a good point on that, though, where you just have a guy that like he's not going to be able to get open like he once did. Plus, it's not like athleticism was ever necessarily a strong suit. He was a crafty tight end. He was great. Look, he was an Eagles. He's an Eagle. He's an Eagle.
His best days were Eagles days for sure.
For sure. And he wasn't bad in Arizona. He actually wasn't even bad with Washington. Chris White, speaking of sin, a tone. Damn right, man. Take a single second. Tap that thumbs up for us. Appreciate you guys. How about this? Scott Hughes. Fun question because there's a guy I wanted to talk to you about, Spags. Mariota and Juju or Debo and McNichols. So McNichols, if there's one thing about Jacory Krosky-Merritt, the guy's just not a good pass blocker. And I mean, Cliff Kingsbury's come out and said as much, basically saying, if he wants like the full bell cow role, this guy, and thanks for the super chat, this guy has to come out and, he essentially said like he needs to be a complete back. And he didn't mean as a pass catcher. He meant, as a blocker as well. McNichols has had some opportunities in the receiving game. Rodriguez isn't using the receiving game at all. You will see some work for McNichols. I threw a prop up on McNichols over on Tails if you want to go check that out. I think there's probably more legitimacy to him if you wanted to grab him in the betting market than there is today at his price point, $3,400 on DraftKings. But can you make an argument for McNichols? And obviously answer Scott's question as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think projection-wise, the first one would look a little bit better for how I think everybody assumes the game script would go. I think a Debo McNichols one is kind of interesting. I mean, McNichols is going to play if they're behind. It's basically if they're in third and long situations,
exactly.
If they're passing every down, he's going to be out there for all of those. So with the total being where it is and how people are playing it, which are mostly Chiefs dominant builds, McNichols should be more valuable than he is. I've got him as a 10% play, which is basically a little bit above the ownership. I'm happy to be there. I did put him in some of my higher dollar lineups as well. Because I felt like he was a unique tournament option. But I think he's an interesting play because really, like, they trust him there. But I also think Rodriguez is kind of interesting. Like, I didn't realize this without looking at the data. Rodriguez is now getting more red zone opportunities per game than Krosky-Merritt, which almost doesn't make sense with Rodriguez not being active for a couple games. But he's averaging 2.3 a game. Krosky-Merritt's at 1.1 red zone opportunities. It's at the 10-yard line. It's 1.5 for Rodriguez. It's a 0.9 for Krosky-Merritt. So there's reasons to play any Commanders back, really. But they're different game scripts, I think, for those guys and how you'd play them.
I'm with you, though. It's a good breakdown, and we have 5% right now. If I ended up getting 10% McNichols, I'd be fine with it. Again, I think it is actually very important to consider the fact that if they are playing from behind, and they are 11.5-point dogs, if this game goes the way that many expect it to, McNichols could be sneaky from a PPR standpoint if he's cheap enough. He could also do nothing, but that's this whole slate. That's this entire game outside of like Mahomes and Rice and a few others. There's a lot of guys that we're going to play today that may just goose egg us, and there's nothing we can do about it. Rob, thank you for the super chat, Rob. What do y'all think about Pacheco in the captain spot since his carries are up and we know he's – I like him. We talked about it earlier, Rob. If you joined late, happy to recap it for you. But I think Spags and I both agree that he looks – I think, what did you use? Would you say the eye test, right? Like if the eye test suggests that Pacheco, he's not back to pre-injury form, and I don't even know if that's still what it is, but he does look okay. He's running mean again. His rushing attempts prop is at 11.5. His targets prop probably at like 1.5 or half with juice like minus 200 to the over. But at his price point, when the Chiefs have a monster implied total, I tend to like him. I have no problem. Right now I have, what did I say, around 10% Pacheco at captain. I think that's a pretty good number.
Yeah, I think that to me that's like more than enough. I would push back on we all know he's scoring. Like I don't know he's scoring. I don't think that's been the case at any point this year. This team loves to pass in the
Yeah,
red
I
zone,
agree
and
with that.
yeah, that's not him. And he still is also Pacheco. Like, yeah, the touchdown odds look better than they ever been. Still plus 175 at some books, plus 155, 150 at FanDuel and DraftKings. Like it's not, we're not at Derrick Henry minus 250 or whatever, like we were. Bijan minus 250 yesterday. That
Oh
worked
my
out really well.
God, yeah.
we're, we're not at those levels
Brutal.
for Pacheco. So I wouldn't assume he scores, but he's playable at captain for sure.
Also, if you like him to score, bet like if you think he's bet the touchdown there. You said you can get plus 175 in some books with them being a 11.5-point favorite.
Yeah, Bet Rivers, I think, is plus 175, it looks like.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. The real Jay Wayne, thank you for the super chat, sir. Is Mahomes captain Rice, Mariota, Pacheco, Butler, Butker? Jeez. The right way for a 3-man contest? Let's see. Mahomes, Rice, Mariota, Pacheco, Butker, Juju. I mean, it's a good lineup. I don't know how that might be pretty duped. But if you're talking about a 3-man contest that's not that big, I actually like that. Yeah. So you're running. So that's a naked Mariota lineup. That might not be that popular if he's running a naked Mariota.
You don't need to get for a 3-man, unless it's like a ton of money. I would just play the cash game optimal, which is like a 5-1. Mahomes, Rice, Pacheco, Butker. I guess that is the
That's
optimal.
a good that's a good lineup, man. I think that's a pretty nice lineup.
Yeah, actually that does look like the exact optimal from industry projections. So that's it. That's the one you play for 3.
Yeah, so that's a good looking lineup. You're gonna have to throw one of the Jujus or one of these cheap guys in if you're going with those, but I think that's a nice looking lineup for sure. Rob, he's plus 155 on FanDuel. Rob, let me tell you something, brother. Shop the books, man. Get on as many books as you can. Even if you're only putting a handful of dollars, go collect the bonus bets. Bet 365 is bet 10, get 200 in bonus bets. Like there's so many. Matter of fact, here's what you do, Rob. Here's what you do. I'm going to tell you what you should do. Not just Rob, but everybody. I'm not putting you on the spot, Rob. Don't worry. Use the link in the description. Do this during the game, right? Keep this stream open. Do it during the game the moment your lineups are in, right? Go get yourself free months of the Stokastic Sims, the core NFL Sims package, which is like $150 typically for the entire month, and go and get on these other books where you get your bonus bets and your match deposits. That is the move right there. If you haven't done so, the link is in the description, right? You choose any of the books or pick'em sites if you're in non-legal states, or sweepstakes books like Onyx, which is available in 40 plus states, and you're getting 100 in bonus picks when you spend 10. Click claim offer. You have to click that or we can't track you. Deposit. It's a 5 or 10 minimum deposit on all these, and then place a bet or set a lineup if it's a pick'em site. The moment that settles, it could be the next day. It doesn't matter. Take the screenshot of your welcome email and your first settled bet and email us at support@stokastic.com with those screenshots just as proof, and tell us what you want. Every single one of these equals an additional month of the Sims. The coolest part right now, Spags, and I love this time of year. So if you signed up on 2 of these books, right? You say you go on Onyx and you're like, I'll do BetMGM. I'm not on either of those. Not only are you getting your bonus bets and your risk-free bets, and you're getting on books where you can shop more odds and make sure you're getting the best odds on every bet you place. But also, if you grab 2 months of NFL, you can run this through Christmas. So you're getting Thanksgiving football with the Sims. You're getting Black Friday. You're getting Christmas. You're getting all of that 2 months, and you're getting all of those bets, shopping odds, getting the bonuses. Straight no-brainer, man. No better way to do it.
Oh, do you want me to chime in? Great. Yeah. Great stuff.
No. You're good. I was actually reading a comment.
Oh, well, also just real fast though, for people that use the Sims, again, it's really important, I think, to understand stuff like a Rashee Rice and how he plays a role. And if you use the Sims tools for Stokastic, you'll learn stuff like what do the Sims do when they're not playing Rashee Rice? What do they do instead? And, sometimes it'll be capturing the inverse outcome. Somehow the Commanders, go nuts. Sometimes it is just playing other pass catchers along with it. But really, I think for a lot of people out there, if you've never used the Sims, you've seen them on stream, take advantage of the free deals to get your hands on them, because it's really just, if you're not using Sims even as a reference point in your process, you're making mistakes. And I just candidly, I see it happen every day in our chats here, chats around the industry, my own chats on my channels, just people not understanding that Sims give you really valuable insights, even if you don't play those lineups.
Definitely. Dude, we had a Millie winner yesterday. And the crazy thing is, right here, BS Golfer, he had Cook and Breece Hall, and the Sims were feeding me both of those guys. I just got a lot of Bijan as well. Like, the Sims gave me a ton. I was 3x the field on Hall, 2x the field on Cook. This guy just went with a beautiful Tua Waddle stack, Cook, Hall, Pittman, Xavier Hutchinson, another perfectly fine play with no Nico and Kirk, Kittle, Jonathan Taylor, and Bills. Like, that's a nice looking lineup, man. And he won it by, I think, 17 points or something stupid. So shout out to BS Golfer, dude. That's a really great lineup right there.
And honestly, too, the Sims yesterday would have kept you, definitely kept me in some of the tournaments I was in from getting bled dry in your lineups without Bijan. Because, I had really nice lineups that were leveraging against him meaningfully. And I was top 50 in the play action until some of the late games got a little weird with a lineup that faded Bijan. And it's I didn't even deliberately go to my way to do it. That's what happens with the Sims. You build better portfolios, and just understanding the lineups and roster construction, like people are saying in chat. The Sims offer you so much insight there that you're missing out on if you just haven't played with it and really gotten to digging deep on that stuff.
Yeah, man. All right. Anyway, let's get back to the good stuff. Links there. Take advantage of it, man. Do it during the game. Just throw a bet in. Win or lose, doesn't matter. So, all right, your thoughts here on some of these other cheap guys. We still have 15 minutes. I want to sort from the bottom up. I know we get these questions a lot, and then I'm going to pull our most duped lineups in the Sims for you guys, because I know you like to see that as well. Ben Sinnott, man, whatever. That guy was supposed to be good. Robert Tunyon, John Bates, Noah Gray. I do like that 10%. That makes that. I'm okay with 10% Noah Gray on a showdown slate. Juju, Chris Moore, Thornton, again, 9%, perfectly fine with that. We are getting slightly over the field on the 3K Kareem Hunt. So these are a few spots. McNichols at 3,400. Anytime you have a Chiefs game like this, the value is really ugly, but every one of them is viable, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. Even Robert Tunyon played 24 snaps last week, and that could have been because of the game flow getting weird. But you had almost 50 snaps for Kelce, almost 50 snaps for Noah Gray, and you still had Tunyon getting 24. They just find ways to get all these guys in the field. So with the total being where it is, I would certainly say favoring the cheap Chiefs is more appealing than Ben Sinnott. And I love Ben Sinnott's talent. I really wish that he could have been the starter last year and had that Zach Ertz opportunity, because I think we would have been looking at a guy who could have been a star player because he was so good at Kansas State. Now he's an also ran guy who's treated as a blocker for the most part. Could he catch a touchdown in a gimmicky way? I think with Mariota at QB for sure. But Tunyon, Noah Gray in particular, like you said, this is a guy you're getting potentially 40 snaps from at 2K. I'd rather take that shot. But really it is a pretty even spread. I got nobody above 10% and a bunch of guys between 5 and 10, including Tyquan, Chris Moore around 5, Juju around 5. It's a pretty even split based on the sim, it seems like.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. Tristan, which ones are available in Florida? Onyx, I know, is a sweepstakes book. So I know you got your hands tied out there in Florida, but Onyx is available. And they have the best sign-up offer, I think, out of any of them right now. So, you can join Onyx with that link in case you wanted to do that. All right, let's take a look at our most duped lineups as well, Spags. So you look at dupes here. 127 with a 5-1. Okay, let's see what this is. Mahomes, Butker, Pacheco. Wait, is this the same lineup that dude gave us?
That's the cash game lineup. Yeah, I think that's most industry projections, I think will put you on that for the cash games.
He had Pacheco too, right? So Mahomes, Butker, Pacheco, Smith-Schuster, Mariota, and Rashee Rice. I'll tell you something crazy. This is not going to show up if you favor 150 lineups, even with multiple uniques. But what is interesting is that it's still positively simmed. You don't see that very often. a lineup that's duped that many times and positively sim. Same with this one. Mahomes, Brashard Smith, Butker, Mariota, Rashee Rice, Zach Ertz. So it's a 4-2 there. It's a nice looking lineup on the surface. It's just a matter of, well, how many times is it duped? Are you trying to win a tournament? How big is the tournament you're playing? Let's see. Win percentage. Let's see the highest win percentage. Now, granted, 34% cash. Here's your highest win percentage lineup, Spags. It is Rashee Rice, Chiefs, Butker, Krosky, Merritt, Mahomes, Kelce.
Yeah, 5-1 onslaughts. I mean, you're going to naturally get fed. And this is the thing I do when I kind of do my prep work on my splash play channel is like, I'll go through and run an optimal lineup just off of an optimizer. And naturally you are getting a lot of 4-2 Chiefs, a lot of 5-1 Chiefs, which tells me that on a slate, you'll get the onslaughts being a little bit overplayed. That one still wins a good amount, but it's going to be chopped a lot because it's not leaving enough salary on the table and playing the expected construction. If you just play like a 3-3 build, you're going to be off the beaten path more than you would normally because everything today is going to be Chiefs dominant builds. It looks like, at least based off the projection data.
It feels like that. Yeah. I mean, and again, to your point, if you sort by projected fantasy points, it is that same lineup that you were talking about being, the cash game build for today. So yeah, that makes plenty of sense. Player ROI. You look at the highest player ROI we have. Let's see. Outside of the defenses, Noah Gray.
There we go. Lock him in. Captain. Done.
Yeah, man. I don't want to captain him, but I definitely have some interest for sure. For sure. You guys have any questions? Be sure to hit us up too. We got some time. What do we have? We still have 11 minutes left. Any players, by the way, Spags, while I read through some of these questions, are there any players that you wanted to talk about that we haven't hit on yet? And if your answer is no, think about somebody and say yes.
I mean, I'm curious your thoughts on Krosky Merritt because I do think that this is the thing that people miss a lot when they see the total be where it is here, where the Chiefs are, pretty noteworthy favorites. They don't often think, oh, the running back from this game can hit. And I see the chat being confused by Krosky Merritt not being a factor at all. And look, I'm down on Krosky Merritt. I think the role has not been there like it seemed like it would be in week one. They're also, frankly, not opening holes for him like they did in the early parts of the year. And he himself has messed up enough times, but I think there's a game script where you could still get the Chiefs smoking them, but get Krosky Merritt getting a touchdown early, maybe a long touchdown, which he's had some success with. I'm just with the field on Krosky Merritt, so I don't have a big stand there. But are you above, under on Krosky Merritt? Are you just holding hands? Where are you with him?
Yeah, so right now on old JC or on Bill, I am. Let's see here. Let me get to exposures. Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm slightly under in the flex. And at captain, I am slightly over, but he's not being captained a lot. That's an interesting one. You're right. Because he has shown the ability to break big plays. He's absolutely shown the ability to break some big plays. Mr. TD, JCM's pretty much Pacheco. Not really. I mean, I think they're a lot different today. In the sense of with Pacheco, you're not really expecting him to break the big runs. You're expecting them to play with the lead and have more opportunities at the goal line. When it comes to Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, Spags mentioned it earlier. Rodriguez is getting some opportunities in the, in goal-to-go situations. JCM's the type of guy that you hope breaks loose. And he's capable of doing it, assuming he doesn't keep fumbling. I don't mind him, but I'm slightly below the field at flex, slightly over at captain. I will be honest with you. I don't have a strong lean one way or another, and I'm not going to pretend I do.
I just feel like it's that kind of slate. Really the strongest things I feel about today are Mahomes and Rice, and just trying to, play a little bit less Rice. If I'm playing those guys together, being more unique. I think if you're playing those two guys at all, one at captain, one in the flex, whatever, you need to leave salary on the table at that point or have some really low owned piece that is not there. But yeah, for Krosky Merritt, I just think he's one of those plays where sometimes what I try to think about is, okay, if Mahomes and Rice do hit, what can I do that takes into account this really chalky outcome happening, but gets me more unique? And I do think Krosky Merritt building the lead a little bit, then, the Chiefs maybe stall out a couple of drives early, Commanders are in the lead, and then they get their ass kicked, and then you still hit the Vegas total. It goes where it's supposed to go. The projections still go where they're supposed to go, but at least you have kind of a different game flow. So cross-game merit, I think, is really like he and McNichols represent two exact diametric ends of the spectrum on how the game script could go. And I think playing them in those ways where the lineup is kind of informed by that, hopefully gets you closer to kind of solving the puzzle in the way that a parlay, it's correlated, can do.
Game day Swami. There we go. Ertz, Pacheco, or Hollywood JCM. Ooh. I'd still go Ertz, Pacheco there. Without any context, I think I'd still go Ertz, Pacheco.
Yeah, I'm not huge on Hollywood. I would probably go Ertz, Pacheco as well, but I think that'll be that duo is going to be the higher owned duo if I had to guess.
Oh, somebody mentioning Quentin man, VJ Edgecombe. Boy, am I happy to see you, pal. I'll tell you what.
I'm playing a lot of him. I need him to do more today. He's only got 14.75, and I have him over projected because his rates are stupid from what he's been doing so far.
I'm just talking about as a Sixers fan. The guy's going to play 40 minutes again, so.
That's true. We'll get a lot of opportunities. The Sixers are fun. They're not fun with Embiid out there now, but like the young guard lineup where they have Grimes and Maxey and Edgecombe is like feisty, plays a lot of defense. They can knock down shots. Paul George is going to ruin it.
And when you get McCain back too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they are playing the front end of a back-to-back tonight, so maybe you see their minutes limited a little bit. We'll see. But any other questions, hit us up. And also, I got some bets posted for today over on Tails. Did you know it's free? Did you know that? I saw someone, I think it was Rob, mentioned he loves Tails. I love that you love Tails because we are having an excellent time over there. Like I have my picks feed of the people I follow, right? Everybody right here. Some super sharp guys in this list. You thought, okay, what's Ben got going on today? Let's see. Oh, Ben's bet of the day, which by the way, yesterday he did not get it, but Ben's been crushing these Ben's bets of the day. Greg does his bankroll challenge. Josh has had some great stuff. Mitch is amazing. Jake does NHL. Like Makajeski, college football stud. This guy, Mike, in Ben's Discord, super sharp guy, crushing. Going to the leaderboard. I mean, if you're betting football or basketball or any sport, you should be on Tails because it's all these picks. This is the free picks page. You can go in, see how everybody's doing, most profit and all of that. Go in, see how everyone's doing. Loughy's on the board. Look at that. That's nice.
Oh, how convenient.
Should have been better. Yeah. Should have been better, man. Would have rounded out a 3-game parlay if Pittsburgh didn't fall apart in that second half. But yeah, all of this stuff, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Come check it out. Just create a free account. Follow the people you want. Turn on notifications. Check the leaderboard out. Find those people you want. You can even apply to be an expert. It's very, very easy if you think you've got what it takes. And if you guys love the app and you're using the app, which is where I use all of it, if you don't mind, take a second, man, maybe during the game tonight, leave a rating, a 5-star rating or review. That goes so much further than anything else around here to help us, get more traction on stuff like this. It's a brand new platform and we're doing everything we can to make it awesome, which it is. So if you don't mind, hit us with a rating and review and appreciate you guys. Anyway, 4 minutes to go, Spags. One guy we didn't talk a lot about, and I want to talk about him now, Travis Kelce. He's kind of just another one. I don't mean this in a negative way, but he's just kind of another guy that exists today, along with Debo and McLaurin and with Xavier Worthy, right? Because it's Mahomes and Rice. You just said it minutes ago. Like it's Mahomes and Rice, and I think kind of Pacheco, but not really. And then you have all of these other guys. Kelce just kind of gets lost in the mix, but he still is capable of having those games. We saw it only 2 weeks ago where Kelce had a great game.
Yeah, I think if you play him at captain, that's one of the ways that you pull the most from Rashee Rice. And whether he makes it in the flex or not, Kelce hitting a captain is the assumption then is you lose some of the low ADOT stuff that Rashee Rice got. And Rashee Rice got a lot of it last week. He got 4 red zone intended touches, all 4 of which were inside the 10-yard line. So like that role going away or just not being there in week 2 to the same extent, because last week they were trying to feed him touchdowns for whatever reasons. I think Kelce's an interesting play. I'm only with the field on him in the flex, but at captain, he's only 2.8% expected ownership. So I got about 13%. Feel pretty good about that number. I think Kelce, worthy people will play. I think Kelce to me feels like the most live pivot for Rice just the way they score.
Right. That's actually a good way to look at it. Yeah. And Kelce's still targeted in the red zone. What I would love to just look at their red zone targets and see how they distributed this year. But now that Rice is back, how much does it matter? Like it's still going to be Kelce, right? Thornton's actually, I could be wrong here, but it feels like Thornton's had a significant amount of end zone targets, or at the very least, deep balls that are at like the 1 or 2 yard line.
He's gotten deep balls. I don't track end zone targets themselves, but he has had 0.6 red zone targets in addition to the 2.3 deep shots a game. So like he's had a role. It does feel like a lot of this kind of gets absorbed by what Rashee Rice is doing, but like I agree. Like Thornton, I think can score a touchdown. He's got enough size, and I like the long touchdowns. I think where I expect him to score. But he definitely has had some red zone work.
Here you go. So I'll give you end zone targets for the Chiefs this year. 4 for Tyquan. There you go. He leads the team with 4. Dude, is that right? Kelce has 0 end zone targets.
Huh. That's surprising.
He has 7 red zone targets, 0 end zone targets. Thornton and Worthy both have 4. Brown has 3. Yeah, that makes sense. Juju has 2. Very interesting. Thornton is 3 for 4 on red zone targets. That's crazy. He has a 15% team target share in the end zone this year. That's going to change with Rashee Rice for sure.
Yeah. And just due for regression anyway, I think, even if Rashee Rice weren't in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Surprising to me, though.
Oh, yeah.
He is liked Thornton a lot. So I'm willing. I think we both agree he's a risky play. He might not see any targets, but he's also one that could score tonight. That might be a fun anytime touchdown. I wonder what Thornton's anytime touchdown prop is, Spags. It's got to be. It might not be that crazy. Maybe like 4-1. No.
Let's see if I can get it.
Plus 850 on FanDuel.
That's not bad.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Plus 850 on FanDuel.
Yeah. Not the kind of likelihood where it feels better about playing him in DFS, but no,
not at all. No,
yeah,
no, it actually makes him, in my mind, a worse DFS option and a better anytime touchdown bet. You know, got clapped by Rob, only plus 575 on Hard Rock. Yeah, they know they can jam you because Hard Rock, if you're in Florida, what else do you have, right? I know they're in a couple other states, like New Jersey and a few others, but anyway, Spags, you're the man. Appreciate you, dude. Thanks to you guys for hanging out. As always, good luck tonight. Let's see a Stokastic avatar up top. What do you say?
I would love that. I also, VJ Edgecombe got to 20 fantasy points at halftime, so we're doing okay in the cross-sport Olympics that we have going today.
That kid's good, man.
He is. He's greedy though, man. He wants that ball. When he was running up to Maxey in the first game, like right next to him, like that's not how we run an offense. Nope. But I like it. That's how you got to play if you want to get shots up. Yeah.
I mean, look, I'd rather you draft a guy where you have no clue what the ceiling or the floor is, and you just say, all right, let's see what happens. And that's kind of what Edgecombe was, but and still is. But right. Thanks, guys. Donald, Greg, Sharon, Wally G, all you guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you back here tomorrow. The First Look Show, Ben Ross and myself, a brand new Goblin of the Week heading into week 9. Bye-bye.